One of the hallmarks of Western civilization is the agreement that people in a society cooperate towards creating a set of rules to live by, and then live by them. Any advancement of a people group has come from their willing participation in that process. Issues are perpetual in any group with a common interest because all of their interests are not perfectly aligned. They arise from incongruence in attitude or changes in technology, but it forces people who live in that common interest of peace and prosperity to agree upon a mutually executable solution. Democracy's award is a peaceful life and a reasonably safe place to live where aggravation and anger is addressed by representation, albeit slowly, so that violence isn't humanity's only recourse. The 21st century has not been kind to the societal structures. Rules and ideas that have been advanced by governments have not been in the interest of avoiding violence, but instead at fomenting chaos. The objectives by politicians are to remain in power, not address grievances in their constituencies. The politicians and bureaucracies have turned their rule-making powers upon the citizens and acquiesced that the ill-behaved shall be the celebrated. What the powerful have realized is that the average citizen of any Western country will live by their heritage of cooperation and will dutifully comply with their edicts. No matter how high the bar or tight the needle to thread, the average citizen will do their best to comply with the rules. But in the shadows, there's an entire subset of people not playing by the rules who are gaining advantage over the actual citizen. Perhaps it is because of disparity in economics or education, or it could be in blatant disregard for the societal norms. But the only people being punished for their ills in this new society are the average person. The citizen continues to strive to pay their taxes, license their vehicles, pay their obligations and insurances, pay their mortgages, their student loans, and on and on. They follow the zoning rules, ask for permissions from the agencies to build their tree forts, show up to work every day, pay their fines from violations, wear their masks, stand 6 feet apart, comply with mandates for medicine, and follow along with the irregularities in the theater. But watch as an entire subset of people are looked past by those same powers because they exacerbate the issues that keep them in power. Deep inside of the dutiful citizen is an anger stirring. Injustice is what the citizenry contract is supposed to address. If there isn't equal justice under the law, then there is neither law or justice. People begin to look for someone who is saying things loud enough, regardless of their extremity, and the people wishing to still grip to civilization start to look at one another as the reason for their discontent. The kings and queens behind their castle walls look over and smile, knowing that the seeds they have sown will keep them there forever, enshrined in their comfort. Following the rules becomes the only thing in which citizens can gauge each other by, so they begin to bicker when they see advantages being doled out to either political tribe. It is their only place to express frustration, because those who are supposedly the elected are not listening or telling them the truths should an agitation actually make it to their desks. The citizen sees a strange caste system unfolding, where those that love their country and wish for justice are at the bottom of the ladder, and those that live in blatant disregard for the agreed-upon rules are at the top of the pyramid. They see themselves as the only ones who have to comply with taxes and borders and the HOA life that the powerful have made, and the ill-behaved feel like a profanity to their very way of living. It is going to be a very difficult road back from here. When politicians like Robert Kennedy speak, they come across as something from a bygone era. As he speaks about issues that impact the people actually on the ground, they sound like a foreign language to so many because all that has been presented for nearly 60 years are the issues that propagate the distraction factory. The average factory worker at an Amazon sorting facility cares about the poisoning of their food, the evaporation of their dollar, their health care, and an overly monopolistic employer that makes them feel forced to stay at their job because there's a deep collusion amongst big business to keep them from feeling miserable and just above poverty. There isn't a singular face in those behemoth corporations' workforces that care about capital gains taxes or debates on the Ukraine or the omnibus bills passed in omniscience by the so-called elected. We have to tell the truth to the populace. If we don't, we will find that everyone will abandon the contract and choose the shadow life. It will be chaotic, violent, and filled with injustice for the most aggrieved. We must be rewarded for adherence to the contract with committed representation by people who will listen and act upon the moment we are in. The elected must address the government's response to COVID, their authoritarian instincts to crush the people. They must address the invasion at the borders of our countries. They must address the crony system of government and big business so easily seen in big agriculture and the pharmaceutical companies. They have to realize that unequal application of the law is going to end in revolution and violence. I'm engaged in the Kennedy movement because he speaks of the America I want for my kids and for myself, a place where government is by the people and for them. He speaks of disclosure and processes for addressing frustrations. He talks about the issues that actually matter to us, like food and money and housing and corporatism. This is the party of good faith that I want leading the other side of the contract's adherents. He deserves to be listened to and taken seriously because he's willing, at great sacrifice to his life and reputation, to speak about the things that have long been ignored by the people in government who think that their participation in the social contract is voluntary.